I want to tell you a story. A story about creation. A story about awareness. A story about desire. And ultimately, a story about God and how all of this came to be. Once upon a time, there was nothing. The nothing was dark, a deep, pitch-black, empty space, a vacuum. But nothingness had awareness. Nothing was aware of the expanse of its own void, and nothing began to notice a longing that it had, a desire for something, for anything, for everything. And in recognition of its desire, of its capacity to receive, hold, and create something, suddenly, God appeared. And in an instant, every crack and crevice of nothingness was filled with God and His infinite power and omniscience. Suddenly, nothingness was filled with the power and potential that came with God and His presence. Suddenly, nothing's prayer was answered, and now nothing could be filled with anything that it desired. But God gave it a few rules. And God said, first, know that I am all. I am infinite and unlimited, and all of me is perfect, beautiful, and true, and so is everything else that I create. Second, if you can't see me or my truth and my beauty, it's because you are experiencing me through a lens of shame, which I have also created, and is anything that you deem to be wrong, bad, broken, not enough, or too much. You'll only be able to see my beauty if you can see beyond your shame and find acceptance of me. Third, everything you create from here will be created by me, with me, and as me. And everything you create will contain a unique piece of you, and therefore a unique piece of me. And that unique piece will be called its soul. And that soul will be connected to my spirit and the soul of everything else. And each soul will have its own unique expression or reflection of me. And each soul will have a desire of its own. And its unique desire will be called its dharma. Each of your creations' dharma will be designed and ingrained in their soul by me to bring balance, order, and beauty to everything you create. That dharma comes from me, just as did your desire to experience everything. Fourth, your creations will be nourished when they become aware of the God within them and their desire. Each of your creations will have the awareness to recognize me within them and everything else. When your creations become aware of their unique desire and are committed to creating it, your creations will grow more vital, more powerful, more expansive, and more harmonious. Conversely, when your creation's awareness is tainted with shame and believed and treated to be separate from me, disease, decay, degeneration, and disorder will ensue. Lastly, the only boundary to your desires and creations is that they are not to interfere with the desires and creations of others. If you do, then your ability to fulfill your dharma will diminish. And then God said, now let's go create something. So the first thing that nothing began to notice in its awareness of God was its desire to experience light. So nothing created the sun to shine beautiful, radiant, loving, and nourishing light into all of nothingness, into all of itself. And just as God said, nothing's creation of the sun came with God's awareness, and along with it, its own unique desire to experience and create something. This was the sun's dharma. Because the sun could not experience its own light, the sun desired to experience it. And so the sun created the moon to reflect back to it the light that it shone so brightly and so beautifully. The moon, in her creation and awareness and experience of the sun, noticed her own desire, a longing all her own. The moon wanted to create something that shone light just like the sun. So the moon created the stars. And then the stars began to experience their own desire. Their desire was to create other planets like the moon, each with their own unique harmonic resonance, just like the sun and the moon had. So the stars created all the planets: Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, and Mercury. And with each of these planets, the sun, the moon, and the stars, each playing their unique notes, decided that they would forever dance around the sun and together create the one song, the universe. The universe was then created together with its own unique dharma, or desire. So the sun, the moon, and the planets came together to create the council of the constellations. And the council of the constellations found that together they could create something even more magnificent than they could create as individuals. The council of constellations began to notice their own collective desire. And their desire was to create something that they had not experienced before. This something was life. And so the council of the constellations created Earth and agreed that the moon would orbit it, allowing the Earth to experience the sun even when parts of it were unable to. And the Earth was given its own ability and desire to create and sustain life. Together, the council of the constellations would nourish the Earth with their ever-changing harmony, the one song, the universe. The Earth, upon unearthing its own desire, and out of its desire to create life, the Earth created and planted in its soil seeds, and these seeds were given the desire to sprout and break through the surface of the Earth and beyond, so that way they could experience the beautiful, radiant, loving light of the sun. And these seeds then began to sprout and grow, creating the plants, flowers, trees, shrubs, and bushes. And as these plants grew and grew, overtaking the Earth began to come out of balance. And so the plants desired to create something that could enjoy, appreciate, and use the plants and their fruits for nourishment. So the plants created animals. Animals like mice, rabbits, moles, and voles. And the mice, rabbits, moles, and voles enjoyed the plants and fruits of the Earth, bringing the Earth back into balance. And as the mice and rabbits grew, they began to diminish and deplete the Earth of plants, bringing it out of order once again. So the mice and rabbits created the snake. The snake would slither and sit in the rocks and grass and wait for the mice and rabbits to cross its path to be eaten, so the snake could be nourished. The snake began to grow tired of only being able to see what was right in front of it, as it was too deep in the weeds. It desired a different perspective and a different way of hunting its prey. So the snake created the puma. And the puma, with its ability to see and travel much farther and much faster, began to hunt the rabbits, mice, moles, and voles. And as the snake and puma ate the same food, the Earth came out of balance. So the puma began to desire to create a bigger, more cunning animal to pursue, which was far more nourishing. So the puma created the deer. The deer began to share the same desire as the snake and wanted to experience the Earth from a higher perspective. So the deer created the hummingbird. And as the hummingbird enjoyed the sweet nectar of the Earth's flowers, it only experienced the Earth during the day. and as it became aware of its desire to experience the earth from a higher perspective, and at night, the hummingbird created the owl. The owl pursued the mice, moles, and voles during the night, and soon desired to experience the beauty of earth during the day. But the owl desired something else as well. The owl desired to be in connection and community with other birds like it, and to enjoy together the fruits and seeds of the plants. So the owl created the raven. Woo! Woo! And so the raven was created. And as the raven enjoyed the fruits and seeds of the earth, it desired to be with other ravens. So it cawed out, "Caw! Caw!" And in doing so, created other ravens to fly together with him as a flock. And as the ravens danced and flew and cawed together in connection and community, the ravens desired to eat flesh and meat and to fly at even higher heights. So the ravens came together, and together they created the eagle. The eagle flew to new heights and ate the flesh of the animals that roamed the earth. But the earth began to come out of balance once again, because there were animals who were dying and had nothing to eat them. So the eagle desired to clean the earth of the carcasses of these dead animals and to fly at even higher heights. So the eagle created the condor. And the condor flew the highest heights of all the animals and cleaned the earth of its carcasses. And these powerful animals came together to create the Council of Life and discovered that their creationary powers together were far more powerful than as individuals. And the Council of Life recognized that there was a need to keep the plants and animals and the rest of the earth in balance. So together with this need and the Council's desire to create something that could create something beautiful on and from the earth and its majesty. So the Council of Life created man to both eat the plants and the animals, and to have an entirely expanded capacity and awareness to create more beauty on and of the earth. And so the Council of Life created man, and man ate both the plants and the animals, restoring balance to the earth. But the man began to become lonely. The man was envious of the raven who danced and flew together in connection and community with his flock. The man also recognized that there were animals that he could not hunt alone. And so the man, in his awareness and inspiration from the nature of earth, realized his desire. And his desire was to be with other men. And the man created other men. And as these men lived and hunted together, they began to long for and desire another type of man. A man who had the skills and attunement for the things that they did not, and who could woo the perfect match for them, who together could create an even more expanded version of the two types of humans. So the men came together, and in their desire to create this new type of man, created Woo-Man. And the Woo-Man were more attuned to their bodies, minds, emotions, and rhythms of the earth and the moon, and in a new way came together with the men to complete the magnificence of life on earth, and who together made art of the earth to live and dwell together. The Council of Life, enjoying the beauty and balance that the humans had created on earth, began to notice something. Humans, in their expanded state of consciousness, began to label, view, and treat life through the lens of shame, and that aspects of themselves and others were wrong, bad, broken, not enough, and too much. And just as God warned, the humans began to become blind to the beauty and truth of everything and its godliness. The humans also began to interfere with their desires and the dharma of other humans. And in doing so, the humans began to decay, degenerate, and fall into disorder and disease. The humans lost their lust, love, vigor, and appreciation for the magic and beauty of life on Earth. The Council of Life, in their concern for what was unfolding, called on the Council of the Constellations to convene and confer. Together, they formed the Council of the Universe, and together they shared the desire and commitment to help the humans remember that they too are made by, from, and of the perfection of God, and that they too, like everything created before them, had a soul, and that the soul was connected with every other soul in the Spirit of God, and that their desires and their commitment to creating them were the key to restoring balance and beauty to the earth. The Council of the Universe devised a plan, and they decided to send the snake to deliver a word, a gift, and a set of tools to the humans to remind them of the perfection, the magic, the beauty, and the truth in everything, in every moment. To remind them of the God, the soul, and the desire within them, the same that they shared with the animals and the earth and the constellations. So the snake went to the humans to deliver the word, the gift, and the tools that the Council of the Universe gave him. The snake approached the humans and seethed a single word. The snake said, the humans knew immediately that the word meant to behold the magic and beauty of the moment, and that this moment is to be celebrated and appreciated. And with this awareness, the humans were suddenly struck with the most bewildering and painful of experiences. With the word that the snake spoke, the snake also gave the humans the 7 acts of violence: hurt, harm, loss, injury, deficit, death, and pain. With these 7 acts of violence, the humans for the first time experienced unsafety and dis-ease. And as the humans experienced this incredible pain, the snake spoke the word a second time. And in this reminder, the humans were reminded of the beauty, perfection, and magic of the moment. And in the ecstasy of their relief from the horrors of the 7 acts of violence, the snake gave them the tools that they could use if they ever were overcome with dis-ease and had ever lost their connection to their soul. The snake gave them ayahuasca from the grandmother tree, wachuma from the grandfather cactus, tobacco from the plant of power, marijuana from the flower of ease, and mushrooms from the masters of the stars. The humans, in their connection to God, to the stars, and to the earth, went on to create incredible works of art, all from the desire of their souls. The beauty and magic of their connection to one another, the earth, and the constellations was amplified and magnified by their experience of the 7 acts of violence. And with the powerful gifts given to them by the snake, they were able to help one another experience and heal from the 7 acts of violence. And in doing so, were able to return to the awareness and recognition of their perfection, their existence, and their connection to God, as God, in the pursuit of the desires of their souls. But something happened along the way. Eventually, humans returned once again to viewing, labeling, and treating one another and the earth with shame, and interfering with the desires and dharmas of other humans. The humans even began to use shame to control one another. And in the humans' pursuit of control through shame, once again, they became blinded to the perfection, beauty, and truth of themselves and of God. Which is where we find ourselves now, suffering from immense violence, shame, and disconnection. disconnection from ourselves, one another, our souls' desires, and ultimately from the perfection, truth, and beauty of God and all of His creations. All you have to do for proof is look around at the disease, degeneration, disorder, and decay that surrounds us. The good news is, the story is not over. In fact, in many ways, it's just beginning. But how the rest of the story goes depends on what we decide to do right now. We can either choose to revel in the dis-ease and degeneration and continue to be blinded by shame and the 7 acts of violence, or we can choose to stop and reconnect with ourselves, with one another, the earth, the constellations, and the wisdom of the universe and the master plants and fungi has given us to help us remember. To help us remember that we have a soul, that each of our souls has a unique expression and a unique note to play in the one song of the universe. And doing so will help us uncover and fulfill each of our soul's unique desires. In doing so, will not only reconnect us back to ourselves, but reconnect us as well to one another, to the earth, and to the universe. Just know that how the rest of the story goes is up to you. It will be written, crafted, and created by your choices. So know that your choices matter. You matter. And the choice of how the rest of the story is written is yours for the choosing. So, choose wisely.